Okay, so I'm here with Taro, and we're in the Amazon forest on the K34 tower in the central Amazon. And Taro, maybe you can first start out by saying what's your full name, where are you from, and what's your academic status.
So my name's Taro Sochi. Um, right now I go to a boarding school in Connecticut, but I was originally from New York City, and then the last 5 or so years before boarding school, I lived in Singapore for a couple of years, and also in Tokyo. And like I said before, I'm going to my junior year next fall in high school.
Okay. And so you're here, I think it's like 25 meters up on the tower. What are you doing here?
So what I'm doing right now is using this light core machine to measure the exchange of kind of water and CO2 through the leaves into the air. And so, yeah, basically there's like the two different machines of the light core, and then one kind of almost clips on to a leaf, and then through that you can control the different temperature, the light, and then you can see the different kind of exchange of CO2 and water.
And what's the process of CO2, the physiological processes that influence that CO2 exchange? What are those?
So definitely the different characteristics of the leaf. So like leaf size, um, surface area, thickness, and then also the concentration of nutrients, kind of where it's spread out throughout the leaf during the day, and then also again like the height, what part of the canopy you're in, and then so those kind of different characteristics of the leaf definitely affect
But what about like the little small mouths on the
the
leaves?
yeah, so definitely the stomata. So I'm also measuring the stomatal conductance, and so that measures kind of the, I guess you could say, like how open they are in the
Right.
leaf. And so the stomatal conductance is what the kind of the pores in the leaf that let the CO2 come into the leaf, and so that's definitely a factor.
So what happens? So the leaves open those stomata, they let the CO2 in, um, but do they lose anything in the process?
Um, so yeah, it so once the CO2 comes in, a reaction kind of happens between using the water that's bringing up from the tree into the leaf, between the water and the CO2, and then through the energy from the sun, um, photosynthesis occurs and creates oxygen and other sugars and carbohydrates for the plant to use as food.
But so some of the water is being used in photosynthesis, but isn't a lot of the water just passing right through?
Some of it.
What's that process called?
Uh,
If the water goes out the pores and into the atmosphere, what's that process called?
respiration.
Transpiration.
Transpiration, right.
What's respiration?
Respiration is what kind of happens when there's not a lot of sunlight, and so the reverse reaction of photosynthesis is spontaneous.
Uh huh.
And so what happens is, during nighttime or when it's like really cloudy, um, again, no light, the reverse reaction happens. So instead of oxygen being released, the oxygen and the carbohydrates and sugars react together and then release CO2. So it's kind of just the reverse of photosynthesis.
Okay, great. And do you plan to do any future studies on photosynthesis? For example, in college or maybe in graduate school?
Uh, I think so. It's definitely really interesting. I'd definitely like to research more about it.
Well, why would people care about photosynthesis?
Well, it's hugely important to, um, like the rainforest is a huge epicenter of photosynthesis just because of the amount of different organisms here, and so it plays a huge role in climate change or climate, and then also, you know, photosynthesis is the reason why we have plants and trees and things, and so They provide a lot of different food and fuel and medicine, and so really